Hello and welcome to another episode of the Wisdom and the Tangents podcast. I am your host, John Mansfield, and I got a solo show for you this week. I'm going to be talking about how skill level evolves over the generations and how, what once seemed impossible is actually tangible now, actually possible. I hear from a lot of people skepticism and just kind of like pushback on the new AI editing, about AI, chat GPT, all of the things that are just kind of like the next level of technology. And I think that we should be embracing it. And I actually had Cameron and Tia on the show earlier this year, episode 165, where we talked about embracing AI. So if you have not listened to that one, or if you're a little bit skeptical about AI and how to use that in your business, definitely go check out episode 165 after this one with Cameron and Tia Goff. I'll link it in the show notes too. But there's been a lot of pushback to AI, a lot of pushback to like moving forward. And it reminded me of a time that earlier this summer I was in New York for a photo shoot, and I had a long story. I flew in, my flight was delayed like 6 hours. It turned it into a red eye. I got there at 2 a.m. We started the photo shoot at 4 a.m. and it was a long day. It wasn't until like probably 4 or 5 in the afternoon that we like wrapped up everything. And I made it back to the hotel and I lay down on the bed, just like crashed onto the bed. My body was so tired. And I just flipped on the TV, and in hotels, you got all like the cable channels, and you're like flipping through like old school. It's not, Netflix or Hulu or anything. And I was just scanning through the channels and like TNT, TBS, all this stuff. And I came across ESPN Classic. And I'm not a big sports guy, but like I came across that, and it was some basketball game from like the 70s. And one, those shorts were way too short, guys. Those shorts are very short. The 70s, if you ever watched some classic basketball, just be warned. But I was watching them play, and the skill level, maybe not skill level, but just the way that they moved was just so slow compared to modern basketball. And they were just like slowly dribbling down the court and just telegraphing where they were going to pass the ball. And it seemed so different than where we are today, and where Larry Bird of the 70s, very different than LeBron James of the 2000s. And I started thinking about how a lot of times our skill level in a certain industry, in a certain place, like basketball, is like there is a peak. There are the top players. And then as things move on, other people see those top players doing these things, doing the different moves, and then they are able to do that as well. So like with basketball, you think about like how nobody really dunked back then. Like they were doing some layups where they were up there by the rim. I mean, these are tall guys. They're upper 6 foot, 7 foot players. And I don't know if they had any 7 foot players in the 70s, now that I'm thinking about it. But they're very tall. They can easily dunk, but they really didn't back then. And now just like everybody dunks, everyone wants to dunk. And like Michael Jordan jumping from the free throw line and just, slamming the ball. That evolution of skill and just like skill level going up and up and up. You see that in a lot of different places, like figure skating. Like I remember the triple axel was just the biggest thing. That's what everyone talked about. That was every Olympics in like the 80s and 90s was all, or I guess every Winter Olympics was all about the the triple axel. And if you can land that, and it was like the biggest trick out there. And then last year, 2022, a kid in high school was in like the, I don't know, high school world championships. I don't know what it was, but Ilya Malinin did a quad axel. And it's like, there was once a time where the triple axel was impossible. People were doing double axels and they thought that was top of the game. And then someone tried a triple axel and finally did it. And then that became just insane. No one could believe that they landed a triple axel. I think it was like in the late 70s, early 80s. And then that became the standard of the highest trick, the biggest trick out there, until more people saw that someone could land a triple axel. So they kept trying and pushing toward it and gaining in their skill level until they landed the triple axel. And now a lot of people land triple axels, I'd imagine, at least judging by my brief experience watching the Winter Olympics. But now this kid Ilya, probably pronouncing that incorrectly. I should have looked up the pronunciation, but he landed a quad axel, and now that's the top. And there's probably going to be someone who sees that quad axel and keeps trying and moving forward until they get the quad axel. And then more people will be doing that, and that will become a very common trick until someone does a quintaxle or whatever the next one's going to be. But like, you see this in skateboarding. I was big into skateboarding in the, I guess, early 2000s. I didn't really have a skateboard before then, but my teenage years, I loved skateboarding. I loved watching Tony Hawk, playing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater on PlayStation and all that. And Tony Hawk landed the 900, where you go up and you spin around 2.5 times and then land without falling. And I can't even ollie without falling. And he did this 900, and I remember seeing a documentary or something about him, and it wasn't just like he grabbed a skateboard, hit the vert ramp, and did that in one afternoon. He kept trying and pushing and falling and bruises and broken bones until he landed the 900, and it was a huge deal. And now, a couple of years ago, another kid. So this kid was 11 years old in the X Games, which is insane to be in the X Games at 11 years old. And his name's Guy Curry, and he was trying for a 1080, which is 3 complete rotations and while you're in the air, and landed it. And also, Tony Hawk was there, and he landed it in front of Tony Hawk, which I think was funny. But like, growing up as that 11-year-old, he saw Tony Hawk do the 900, and then he saw other people landing the 900, and that impossible reach of spinning 2.5 times around became something that was a lot more possible, a lot more tangible, still way out there, but something more tangible. And then he tried it, and I'm sure eventually landed it before trying for the 1080. And then, as an 11-year-old, pushing himself further and further, saying, I know that this is possible because I've seen other people do it, and I've done it now. Now I'm going to go even further and do this 1080. And it was insane. I watched a clip of it before recording this, and it was great because I was like, who is this guy? I need to know his name. But like, whenever you see other people have success or do something special that, maybe at one point you thought was impossible or not possible for you, whenever you see other people doing that, it becomes a lot more possible for you. So if your impossible dream or goal is you want to hit 6 figures as a stay-at-home parent, and that just doesn't look possible right now, you can look to others who have hit 6 figures while being a stay-at-home parent and learn from them. And as you're looking for people who have done what you're goal is, what you're wanting to do. You can learn from them. You can, if they're an educator, you can hire them as a mentor even, or you can listen to them and just learn from what they're putting out online, what they say on podcasts, all that kind of stuff. So whatever your next goal is, push it to be a little bit more impossible. I know we are wrapping up Q4, or I guess we're not wrapping up Q4, but we're wrapping up the year 2023 currently, and we're in Q4. This is a great time to be thinking about what your goals are for 2024 and what you need to be writing down, what you need to be driving this semi-impossible goal that is now possible because other people have done that. So like if you want to make millions taking photos and educating people, look to Jenna Kutcher or Jasmine Starr, Caitlin James. They all started off as photographers and they have made millions of dollars by educating other people and by raising their prices as photographers too. If you want to photograph celebrities, look to John Dolan and Pi Jersa and Susan Delaware. Like they've all photographed celebrity weddings, and you can as well. Like you can learn from them and get to that celebrity status where people want to hire you for these big Hollywood weddings. And if you want to be like a wizard with off-camera flash and really learn that, really use that to not only just be able to take photos whenever it gets dark outside, which right now the sun is setting at like 5 p.m. And if you don't know off-camera flash, now is a great time to start learning off-camera flash because this time of year is terrible. Because even sunsets are often just like gloomy and gray, and you don't really have that golden hour so much anymore. But yeah, if you want to learn how to be a wizard at off-camera flash, look to Jason Vinson and Megan Allen and Erica and Lanny Mann. They all have honed in their skill level for off-camera flash that at one point I would think is impossible, the way that they set up scenes and do things. But now I have seen it is possible to do that, and there are people that I can learn from to be able to do that myself. So whatever your goal is, whatever your next big step is, look to other people who have already been there, who have raised that bar, that peak of skill, and they are there. You can learn from them. It's not going to be easy. It's definitely going to take a lot of hard work and a lot of time, just like all the bruises and broken bones that Tony Hawk had trying to perform the 1080 or the 900. He may have done a 1080 as well. I don't know. I'll have to YouTube that and see. But look for those people and know that it's going to be some hard work, but you can do that. So for this week, find your inspiration, learn from your mentors, and put in the hours to reach those possible goals. I would love to hear what your crazy goals are. If you're listening on Spotify, you can there's a little like Q&A section if you scroll down a little bit on the episode, and you can just put in whatever your goal is. I would love to hear from that. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, and just drop in the comments. If you're any other streaming platform, I guess just hit me up on Instagram. You can DM me. I'm at wit.pod, WITT.pod for the podcast Instagram. My personal business Instagram is All Heart Photo, and I'm also All Heart Photo on like Threads and TikTok and all the other places. But yeah, I would love for you to reach out. I love to connect and hear what you're dreaming of, and maybe you don't know who to look to for inspiration for these goals. hit me up with your goal, and I will gladly point you toward some people who are just killing it right now or who have killed it, and you can learn from so that you can kill it as well. All right, that's enough killing for this episode. If you haven't already, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. In the month of November, or every month really, I'm doing a giveaway. So leave a review and take a screenshot of it, DM me, or you can email wisdomtangents@gmail.com, and you'll be entered to win the giveaway. This giveaway is an Echo Dot. Oh, I actually have it here for video. Amazon Echo Dot. Not sponsored, but this is the thing. And as you can see, unopened. I'm not just going to give you mine. Yes, it is new. It is unopened. It is an Amazon Echo Dot. I use it a lot for setting timers and reminders, and just like overall like looking up stuff, and also playing music. We ask Echo to play music all the time, and I have to say Echo very quietly because she's in the other room and might just start playing music. But yeah, that's what we're giving away this month of November. So before the end of the month, leave that review, take a screenshot, send it to me, and you will be entered to win. See you next week. Bye, y'all.